but we're going to be looking at sales. It has to be about convert. Some of you know me really, really well. You're a part of the community, you're a part of the program. But before we kick off of me really getting into the sales skills, I just want to let you know who I am, especially for those of you who are live on Facebook at the moment. You might not have connected with me for some time or not at all. So who am I? I'm a digital marketing coach and trainer. I have consulted and worked for many organizations, working with small businesses. So I'm a Google certified marketing coach. I've worked with local government. I've worked with funded organizations. I have always worked with women and small businesses, really looking at how they can grow their businesses and get profitable. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I also have my own businesses. I've had businesses that have failed miserably and gone bankrupt. I've got businesses that I've sold and I've exited. I run an e-commerce website, so I'm also the founder of a gift business called NN Inspirational Gifts. So I understand what it's like to sell online. And I'm also the founder of Women in Digital Business. So I've been featured in many places. I don't really want to go on with the me, but it wasn't always this way. So 17 years ago, actually it's a bit longer than that now, after graduating uni, working at Capital Radio, I thought I'm going to go and be my own boss. The dot-com boom was here. I wanted to be the next Amazon, and that's actually where I failed at that business. And I made countless of costly mistakes. And from there, I founded many businesses within e-commerce. And actually, I struggled. I struggled to get sales. I struggled to build a sales funnel. I didn't even know what a sales funnel was then. I struggled with converting and developing marketing channels and really understanding return on investment. I was doing really well, making loads of people aware of me, creating this big brand. You know, the pictures on the screen, I'm in South Africa, I'm doing conferences, I'm talking to people. From the outside looking in, it looked great. But actually, I wasn't getting the sales. And that was a fundamental problem of why my businesses in the beginning of my career just didn't convert. So until about 6 years ago, which is where I really elevated myself, I became profitable before 6 years. My actual first business that I made profitable and I sold that had a turnover of $500,000 was actually a cleaning business. That business allowed me to get out of a whole load of debt and really taught me the fundamentals. But I really learned about growth, and I really learned about scaling, and I really learned about digitalization. And for your businesses to survive in this digital age, you're going to have to change the way that you do things. You're going to have to become more innovative, and you're just taking sales, but you're taking it online. Okay, so it's all about analyzing where you are at this moment. You know, be realistic. You know, where am I at this moment in time? Are you in a position where I was, where you've got this great brand, big business, but actually it's not even paying you the salary that you need, never mind, you know, the staff that you might need to grow and the money that it needs to get to have all the things that you want. You know, I want you to really identify your half-built bridges. What do I mean by that? Us entrepreneurs, SOS, shiny object syndrome, constantly starting new things. You know, YouTube's the one. We need to start putting videos out. You know, TikTok's out. Instagram only does video now. I need to start learning how to do reels. You know, you'll learn today about the sales funnel. Maybe I can do this, that. You're always starting things and actually not following them through, because when you don't see the results, you get disheartened. So you start another bridge to build until you just end up with a whole load of heart-built bridges that keep you stuck where you are. You've really got to be able to optimize your marketing efforts to optimize results. So you've got to determine today, I want you to really think about, what does my sales funnel look like? Okay. You want to audit your assets, find ways to make them work for you. This constant creating new assets will just hold you back, spending a lot of time and a lot of money. So you really want to build a future-proof funnel and scale your revenue to withstand all the customer influxes. When you look at case studies, we've seen blockbusters go to Love Film go to Netflix. We've seen so many supermarkets and small corner shops now fall off because of, you know, things like click and collect, where you've got a whole load of Sainsbury's locals, where now you can order from Argos. You know, if you're based here in the UK, you can pick up from Sainsbury's locals because there's so many of them that have replaced newsagents. No matter where you are in the world, there are so many models of businesses that have changed. And what it is that they have digitalized. You know, just like in the industrial stage, Henry Ford, you are not going to be able to sustain if you can't figure out how to make your whole sales process automated. But sales is still very much there. You still have to sell. You don't get away hiding behind technology. You know, when I look at young people now, and you even if I'm on the tube, I just see people on the phone, tick, 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 their little fingers going away. Young people don't want to speak on the phone anymore. People hide behind technology. Your job as a business owner is to how to implement the sales that we used to do, where we used to connect with people, and how do we do that through technology and online, because we still got to ask for the money. We have to ask for the sale. So, you know, really understanding exactly what a growth plan just helped me, especially being underrepresented, where many things just wasn't taught to me. I look at my children now, and even now my son started selling stuff on eBay, and the mere fact that he's got me to help him take photographs, get the right headlines, write the copy, you know, understand about, you know, when you've made your profit, reinvest it. Don't just go and spend it all on Roadbox, which is what these kids, my children specifically, really want to spend their money on, teaching them to be investors and not spenders. I didn't have someone telling me all this stuff. So, you know, the growth plan really just helped me to really understand technology, digital marketing, sales funnels, and just really understand things that some people are just taught from the environment that they grow up in, or the education system that they're in, and it's just second nature. To someone like me, who came from a disadvantaged background, none of these things were taught to me. I've had to learn them. Okay, so that's led me to now being a Google Unremarkable coach. You know, my consulting days are now over because I've got my own community. We're a digital marketeer certified partner. So we are always up to speed, myself and my team, on what's new, what's not, how the algorithms change, you know, how technology is changing. Digital Marketeer is the biggest digital marketing educator, along with Digital Marketing Institute, which I've now got my postgraduate for. You know, we've got a huge following on social media. We've got a good community online with our Facebook group, and we're featured across many media platforms. So I can assure you, you are in safe hands today. And what Women in Digital Business do is we really help women build a strategic system and a plan that's intentional to get you to that 6-7 figure digital business, and really look at your business of what I need to do. And the biggest thing that we do is help you create that sales funnel, and that's what we're here to look at today. So we are going to look at what a sales funnel is and the 8 steps to creating a sales funnel. So what is a marketing funnel? Let's be clear about that. Most of you know what it is. So I don't want to be here to teach you how to suck eggs. However, sometimes in life, you have to be really clear about the definition of things so you can gain clarity. I was away in the Maldives in May, and I started looking at the definition of a lot of words. And it's funny, I looked up the definition of digital business. And digital business actually means the transformation of a business using technology. And some of us, when we heard digital sales funnel, you don't really necessarily apply it to technology. And sometimes just gaining that clarity gave me a better clarity of how I can help my audience. Everything you're doing really is about digitalization, but it doesn't take away some of the core frameworks of how you connect with people to actually sell. So how do you grow a business? So according to the legendary marketeer, James Abraham, and if any of you haven't got his book, I really do suggest that you go and buy his book after this call. I have read the book Using All You've Got, marketing strategies, over and over again. It really brings you back to the core essence of understanding how to grow a business, how to get customers and sales and deal with growth. Sometimes marketing can appear to be very sexy, and we all get lost in that. So if you haven't heard of Jay Abraham, or if you haven't got his books, I really do recommend that you go and buy them. So according to Jay Abraham, there are only 3 ways you can grow a business. And it's true. And it just took me years to really get this to land. Isn't it funny? I don't know what it is about us. We just don't follow the instructions that we're meant to, because we just get misguided by so many other people. Like, I gave some advice out yesterday and I need to take it myself. Even personally, I have a really small circle, and I have a small circle of friends, a tiny circle of friends, because they're like my circle of trust. Who of you have watched Meet the Fockers? And you know, they always talk about, the dad always talks about the circle of trust, and am I going to let you into my circle of trust? Well, that's me personally, because I'm a firm believer of it's less influences. That's how I stay focused in life. That's how I keep my eye on the ball. And actually, business isn't any different. The more influences that you have coming out is the more it takes you away from core strategies of what people like Jay Abraham even teach us. So bear that in mind. Once you've joined the community and you're getting the information that you need, try not to flip-flop into loads of other communities, because you'll just get lost. So Jay Abraham teaches us that the 3 ways to grow your business is to increase the number of customers, increase the average transaction value per customer, increase the number of transactions per customer in order to make these things happen. In order to make these things happen, you need to have a funnel. Okay, so what is a funnel? A marketing funnel is an intentional path you take your prospect through as they go from an unaware prospect to a happy customer. So imagine something that you use. It could be a face cream. It could be somewhere that you get your shoes from. Think about all the things that you might buy that you would never have heard of this company, this product, this service, and how you might have heard of them and how you've gone through that process of deciding whether you're going to buy to actually making the transaction. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we need to do this. I think when we're really close to our own business and our product and service, we have this habit of, because we know everything, we treat ourselves like the informed customer, but the customer isn't educated and informed, and we forget that. So just remember, a marketing funnel is an intentional path, a path that you have laid out specifically to say, let me look for the suspects, okay? You know, who's my audience here? Let me get them, let me get them. Let me build my authority. Let me speak up, speak out, speak loud. You know, who are my prospects? Who are the people that actually are considering to buy from me? You know, and who are the leads? Who are the leads of the people that want to buy from me? And then those people turn into your customers. That's what a funnel is. Funnel is a process, an intentional path, an intentional strategy, an intentional journey. There's so many words for it that you are going to take your prospect through. But this funnel, this journey, this outline, this framework, you're going to think about it in great detail. You're going to understand psychologically exactly who your customer is and get to know them better than they know themselves. But you're also going to understand the technology that can be used in today's digital world to take them from one step to another step. Everything you do in a funnel should be intentional. Your sales and the money that you're bringing into your business should be intentional. So let's look at the 8 steps that you need to build your funnel. Okay. You need to determine your product and the market fit. And that might seem really obvious, but it's not, especially for me with my e-commerce business. I flip-flopped around with this for a good 2 to 3 years, if I was to actually be honest. You know, forget those stories when people say I become a millionaire in 30 days or 6 months. Yeah, right. I had to work really hard at really understanding my product and understanding my target audience. And actually what happened was I wasn't targeting the right people in the first instance. And what can happen is when you start building out content and you start making yourself aware, building a brand and a website, and there's a mismatch between your core offering and what your product or services that you're offering to market, and the audience doesn't fit it, or actually there isn't a greater need for that audience that you think there is, that's when a lot of time and money gets spent and you have to end up going back to the beginning again. So really understand, you know, what is your core offering? What pains and challenges do you solve in your target audience's life that makes them feel like when they find you, I'm understood, this is the product or service for me, okay? You need to choose a traffic source. What do I mean by that? So how are you going to get traffic? How are you going to make people aware of you? Do you have the budget? Is it going to be paid? Do you not have the budget at all? So it's going to be organic. Be realistic. Understand where you're driving traffic from and how you're going to get that traffic. Maybe you've got a mailing list and you've got own traffic, but choose a traffic source. You then want to offer a lead magnet. You then want to make an offer to get your prospects, your suspects to sign up for something that is just a no-brainer, that they want to test, try, they need, it hits a pain, a challenge, but it's something that hits that pain point that's like, yeah, I need that. So something of free, but something that leaves their email address, their telephone number, some form of contact so you can keep making contact and you can warm your leads up. It's in a funnel, remember. So you want to keep them warm. You don't want cold leads. Then what you want to do is, typically, not for everyone, not one size doesn't fit all. I'm not a believer of that at all. I'm not a, this is my journey, follow these exact steps and you'll get to where you want to get to. Absolute rubbish and crap, because we're all different in the world and all of you have got different customers. So you want to offer an entry point offer, typically for most businesses. For some, that might not fit your model, but entry point offer is something of really low value that you get to try. It's not going to cost a lot. It gives your prospect a feel of you. Your audience has now trusted you enough to take their debit or credit card out of their pocket and actually type it into the internet or hand it over to you, which means there is trust there already. Okay? You then really want to excite them to buy your core product, and then you want to be able to take them out through an upsell. So that's going to look different for many of you, depending on what your different model is, but you want to offer what's called a profit maximizer. What service could you add on? What product could you add on? What's your creme de la creme product, if you have a whole range of them, that you really want to build up towards them buying that high ticket? Okay. To do this, you've got to build your landing page to get your customer to go from one step to another within your sales funnel, which is why I prefer the terminology, a customer value journey. And that's what I call a sales funnel, because it's quite personal now. You think about a journey, don't you? You think about someone tracking along, moving. It just makes it more emotional. And this journey that you're taking your customer through should be emotional. When I say the word sales funnel, that automatically means greasy salesman that's knocking on your door, or someone that's pestering you in store and just using every tactic under the sun to get you to buy. For whatever reason, the word sales brings about negativity that we do need to get rid of. Try and call it something else. So I actually prefer to call the sales funnel the customer value journey. And if you're in our community, you will hear me always talk about the customer value journey, because it underpins everything. So your landing pages is what's going to bring your prospect from the suspect to the prospect to the customer, and that creating a return path, which is then repeatedly buying from you and then telling other people about you. And essentially, that is what you want your funnel to do. So step one, you're going to determine your product and market. For any of you that are like, oh, am I going to get the slides? Am I going to get the slides? Please make sure you join the Women in Digital Business Facebook group. Okay. I will put all of this in the chat at the end, but if you want to look it up, it's the Women in Digital Business Facebook group. If you join it, the decks will be there, and all of these lessons at the end are uploaded onto YouTube. Again, I'll put the posts in the chat, but it's Natalia Nicholson. Go onto YouTube, type my name, and if you're live on Facebook, it's the same name as my Facebook page. Go to Natalia Nicholson on Facebook, on YouTube, and you'll be able to get a recording of this lesson. So for anybody, that's a question I often get asked, can we get the decks? Can we get the recording? It will be available on YouTube in the video, and the decks will be available in the Women in Digital Business Facebook group. So is your product right for the market fit? You need to know your customer in order to effectively market to them. So start by asking these questions to better understand your product market fit. You really want to understand, who is my ideal customer? And I know some of you might think, oh, I know this. Yeah, you're probably clear on their demographics, age, gender, income bracket, status in life, in terms of, you know, we're not allowed to really use class systems anymore, but some people still might say middle class, lower class, A, B, caste classifications. Those are your basic demographics, cultural, but I really want you to take a deep dive in your ideal customer, more around what are their interests, core values, day-to-day lifestyle, etc. And if you go onto YouTube, there's many training sessions that I've run around content marketing and customer avatars that will go a lot deep into this and help you to put a profile together of who is your ideal customer. Okay, what are my customers' frustrations and pain points? I really want you to understand that. Where is your customer before they came into contact with you? And now they've come into contact with you, seen you as an authority, took your advice, bought your products or services. What does life look like now? What pain and challenge are you solving in your target audience's life? Okay, what's getting in the way of their success with the problem they've got? Is it weight loss? You know, is it the fact that they want to feel and look better? Is it the fact of, you know, environmentally friendly and sustainability and not being able to use products that aren't green and friendly? It could be accomplish things. I want you to think of features, not the actual benefit of the product, because the feature is what profiles the change in your product or service, whether that's your e-commerce, whether your food, real estate, it just doesn't matter. Okay, and this is where the Facebook group can be really good for you, because you get to, sometimes some people find it hard to take the framework and put it in their business because they feel like their business is different. You know, some people will say, yeah, but I'm cryptocurrency, how does that work? I promise you it works. It's a framework, it works. There's a pain and challenge for every product or service that you've got. It doesn't matter what sector you're in or what you do. So it's good to join the Facebook group, because sometimes you get to ask questions and we will always answer, and you get to talk to other like-minded women as well. So what is my customer's desired after state? What is it that they want to use your product and service for? What is it they want to achieve? What does success in that market sector look like for them? How does my product help transition the customer away from their problems and towards their success and the solution? So really think about your audience and really think about your product, and is the fit there? Do your research, do your homework. Step 2, I really want you to choose a traffic source. Oh, I've gone back there. Here we go. So now that you've achieved your product, you've got the right market fit, your next step is to figure out how to reach that market and get them to your website or your landing page. A landing page is a page that enables your prospect to go to the next step in your funnel without having to leave the website or do anything manually. It's automated. A website will tell someone your whole brand and everything that you do. So some of you have got e-commerce websites like me, you offer an array of products, whereas my landing pages might home in on one specific scent and type of candle that I've got, where I'm specifically targeting one segment. Okay, so usually you would use landing pages if you want to take people from one step to another in your funnel. So no one really has a traffic problem, to be fair, because let's face it, you can always buy traffic. So your traffic might be email marketing. You can buy lists, even though I wouldn't actually advise that, but you could maybe have joint ventures and partner with other communities where you use their email list that's got a similar audience to your own and there's no conflicts of interest. You might own your own marketing list. Well, you actually own your own traffic. So email marketing one, and email marketing is something that all of you should be growing, by the way. Anybody that tells you email's dead, it's not true, because with email marketing, you own your own traffic. You could have the biggest following on Instagram. What happens when, and we've had this, when Instagram goes down? How would you create your following if it never came back up again? So email marketing, you have actually full control over. So bear that in mind. So your lead magnets that you're giving out and you're collecting email addresses, that's a way of you collecting traffic that is owned. Social media advertising. So you can pay for traffic from Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of them. Search and display advertising. So Google, Bing, Yahoo. These are all search engines that when you, if you never notice it, you'll look at a pair of shoes and those shoes will follow you around the internet for the rest of the day saying, buy me, buy me. That's from display advertising, and what you click on and where you go. That search engine is collecting data and making sure the ads are placed in front of people that would probably be interested in what is being sold. So you've got Google ads, you can bid on search words and your ads will come up depending on what people search for. So you've got search and display advertising you can get traffic from. Content marketing. Content marketing, everything you do, because content is actually your sales pipe. Content marketing is how you're going to connect with someone, whether it's something that you have written, whether it's a video, a vlog, a sales letter, a reel. It just doesn't matter. It's words, whether you speak them, you write them. It's your way of selling. It's your way of talking to your customer, connecting and getting a sale. Content marketing is in everything. One thing I would say about selling online digitally is that you have to understand how to copyright. You have to understand how to speak to people as you would as if you was knocking on someone's door and you was the salesperson. But, you know, writing information up like blogs and vlogs and making sure you come up when people are searching and looking for content is a great way to get traffic. Organic social media, building channels and following. Influencers do this really well, where you can build a channel up. You know, if you use Facebook, you can use something like a group. You can drive traffic organically by going into other communities, telling people to follow you, following people, they follow you back, but having a social media strategy that gets your audience and your leads to follow you organically, where you're not paying for it. And then you've got search engine optimization, which is the search, and which is search. People finding you by what you're searching for, but you can obviously do this organically, which means now you have to be seen as an authority, be seen that you've got a big audience of following, they engage with you. You are making sure you're an authority in the algorithms of the search engines like Google, so you can come up on page 1, 2, and 3 and be found when people are looking for you. Social media marketing, like the advertising, is more for you educating your audience, where your audience might not know that there's that solution to the problem that they've got. And that's the difference. So those are the different ways that you can get traffic. So there are tons of different places to find or buy traffic, but, you know, keep these things in mind when choosing a traffic source. Choose a traffic source that is the best place to reach your customers. Again, sometimes we can get so like distracted. We can get so distracted with, I'm going to be doing reels. You know, everybody's on TikTok. Do you know how much new followers they've had and how much the business has grown? Everybody's going to be on TikTok, but is your audience on TikTok? And that's what you really need to ask yourself. So the chances are your customers, you know, play games, they have favorite things to do. So your research should be to see what platforms your customers are on the most. What platforms do they hang out on? Do the research. Everything I'm talking about, to tell you the truth, is down to the research that you do. And we are in the digital age. Your research should no longer just be business reports of, you know, I remember the days when I would read a Mintel report and be like, wow, this industry is worth X amount of millions and billions of pounds. That means even if I got 0.1% of this market share, I'm just going to be the biggest millionaire ever. We're in the digital age now. There's so many different channels and it's diluted that actually you've now got to connect with these people to even get a sell. And I don't think some of us realize how tough that can be. So you have to start thinking more strategically. And because we are in the digital world, the intelligence available to us is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. There are so many different websites, tools where we can find out customer intelligence to find out what our customers are doing, what they're interested in, where they're hanging out. Some of us have got our own audience, our own following. We could just ask. So do the research. So master one traffic source before you start deciding to use multiple sources. I don't want to hear that anybody's doing Google ads, they're doing Facebook ads, they're doing SEO. Talking from experience, by the way, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear anybody do it because I learned the hard way. You really want to master one traffic source and make sure it works before you start wanting to do multiple, because it's a bit like the stock market is digital advertising. You will lose a lot of money and not get the return on investment. That's the reason why my first business went bankrupt. So step 3, you want to create a lead magnet, okay? So now that you've decided on a traffic source, it's time to start increasing the number of customers you have. So a lead magnet is really an irresistible bribe. I don't really love the word bribe, but it's an irresistible bribe, for want of a better term, that gives a specific chunk of value to a prospect in exchange for their contact information, like their email address, which means now you're building a database of owned traffic. And if you've paid for traffic, Why would you want to keep paying for traffic? Whereas if you get the contact details, you can now contact that person over and over again. And, you know, just keep reminding them, I'm here, I'm here. Okay, so lead magnets are really, really key. If you don't have one, this is something that you really should be working on to figure out, okay, what can I do to build my community and warm my prospects up and get their details so I can keep marketing to them. So keep this in mind when you're creating your own lead magnet. Make sure your lead magnet provides a quick win. The minute your prospect has to overthink it or think about it too much, oh, is that something I need? And we all know the score. None of us really love giving out our email address, or we've all got that email address that we don't check, that's specifically for instances when you're signing up for something. Okay, so you want to make sure your customers are going to find a tremendous amount of value in that content. You know what you're like as a consumer. So, you know, you want it to be a quick win. You want it to be something that's got amazing value. Don't overthink it. And it's so amazing, something that makes them give the email address that you can contact them back on. And remember, we've got content marketing. I have done videos where I've said, and don't give me that email because I'm not going to stalk you. I'm not going to blow up your inbox, but I want to make sure that you get this report that I'm sending to you. And if you give me one of those emails that you don't really check, it will end up going into your spam possibly. There's just so many different things and tactics that you can use. But your lead magnet, you want to make it specific. It should be solving a specific offer for a specific section of the marketing. This way, it just ensures that you're going to generate high quality leads. So what I mean by that is that for all of you, when you really establish who your target audience is, you might find that you've got different segments to your target audience. So when you are building out a funnel, it's always good to speak specifically to a specific segment, because then your content, your communication is a lot more authentic. They feel like they're understood. They feel like they get what you're saying to them, and that's going to help them make the decision to say, right, I need that. So many of the big boys, what they will do is they will segment their audience. So when they're collecting their email address, it will be in segments. So it could be women only, people with parents. It could be where they're finding the lead. So then that way they can monitor what's working best for them, especially if you're doing things organically and maybe you've got traffic sources coming in from a few different directions. You know, if you're reaching out to loads of communities to possibly get them to share what you're offering to their email marketing list, really you would want to segment your mailing list to know exactly what communities those leads are coming in from. So make it specific. Think about customer segmentation. Next, you really want to offer an entry point offer. So I explained to you before, entry point offer is something of low value that just gives your prospect the confidence to whip out their debit card and pay, which builds trust. So make sure your lead magnet it provides a quick win, yes, but also to a point shows your entry point offer. So it's, like I said, it should be irresistible, super low ticket. So anything usually between $1 and $20. In America, you will see things like 1 cent because their only focus is getting the trust up enough to use that credit or debit card. So that gets your customers' foot in the door with a purchase. And there's tons of different types of entry point offers. It could be a physical product. It could be a book, whether that's a physical book or an ebook. It could be a steeply discounted initial service. It depends on your business and your model, but it's generally that entry point offer should be an irresistible because of the low cost. So even lower than break even in some cases. So some people and some businesses actually make a loss at this stage. I followed this format just to fill my funnel when I first launched End Inspirational Gifts. So by starting off with generous lead magnets and providing immense value, it sets the relationship with your customer off on the right foot. And it's funny, sometimes I don't always like using the word customer, by the way. I like using the word client. I've been on this journey of looking words up, just to let you know. So a client is someone who you look after. A customer is transaction and something that pays for something. So can you see when you use the word client, it's like you're looking after them. So you're making an investment at this point with the entry point offer to your client. Words are everything. So step 5, you really want to think about, okay, what is my core offering? So as long as you over deliver and you provide immense value, and women in digital business, we follow this theory down to an absolute T. We give amazing value to the point of our detriment sometimes. Sometimes we feel like where we give so much value, we give things away for free. Sometimes it can devalue it. So be careful of that. But it is actually one of our biggest USPs. We are here to help underrepresented, disadvantaged. Many of us have had to raise our own funds to start our own business. So we make sure that we deliver, but just be careful with the value, because that's one of the struggles that we struggle with at Women in Digital Business. Actually having the value, people understanding the huge value that we give with the information that we give away. Because so many lead magnets out there don't provide value, and customers are getting more intelligent now. They see through it and they don't want to sign up for anything because they just feel like they're going to be bugged. One of the reasons why so many of us are scared of sales, because we see sales as that thing that's just a bug. It's something blowing up our inbox, logging onto LinkedIn, and all you see is tons of sales messages. It just turns you off sales. And that's why when we hear the word sales, it's kind of like that roll of your eyeballs to the back of your head. Sales doesn't have to be like that. Sales is actually really about building a relationship, and rather than just talking at your prospect, listening to them and making sure you can serve your customers. So make sure you deliver and provide immense value with your lead magnet and your entry point offer, your EPO. Your customers will be highly interested in purchasing your core offer after this. So now you need to present the core offering. So you don't always have to keep all the profit. Reinvesting some of your sales back into traffic purchases will allow you to buy more traffic, which means more customers down the line. So your entry point offer, what many businesses do, especially the large corporates and bigger brands, their entry point offers, they will take that money and they will liquidate marketing. That's what it's called. They'll reinvest that into marketing to make sure you've got that constant influx coming in. Okay, so you can't just do it once and have an investment and think, oh, I'm good to go. You have to keep feeding the funnel, because if you don't keep feeding the funnel and leads, you won't have anything to convert. So your core offer should still be valuable. You've already over delivered with your lead magnet. You should have over delivered with your entry point offer. So make sure your core offer delivers just as well, if not better. When people feel like you give value, they keep coming back. Even my husband and I keep saying at the moment, you know, we are big foodies. We love eating out. And a lot of fine dining restaurants do not give value. Do not give value at all. Because what's happening is the price goes up. And because it's fine dining, your chef and your team needs to get paid more. But it's not like you get more food. So it's quite hard. Does that make any sense, to give value when it comes to like fine dining? And even we were saying, like, when it comes to certain restaurants experiences, we're now finding that establishments are just looking great for Instagram photos, and the actual cost on the menu is just for the food is ridiculous. And actually what you get, it just doesn't marry up. And there's a big gap in that market, we feel, where people should be offering great ambience and great food at a reasonable price. No one's saying to come under and lose profit, but sometimes when you give value and you give good quality, sometimes it can be one of the best tactics to go for. Because if you're really high-end, high luxury, all like high fashion brands that we see where people pay extortionate amount of money just for that brand association, these brands have taken decades, in centuries in some cases, to be built. And I think sometimes as we come into new money, we need to remember that we're in a much more of a saturated marketplace. And to get to that level, you have to have a plan and make sure you build your brand up, or maybe you can piggyback off that big brand. So step 6, you want to offer a profit maximizer. Okay, a profit maximizer are higher price purchases that increase the average transaction value per customer. All of these offers are just different ways you can increase the customer's experience and thus increase the lifetime value. Okay, so what you really want to do is increase the average price of your transaction. How do you do that? You want your customers to buy more. So maybe that's when we see in the supermarkets, fast-moving consumer goods, you'll see buy 2 get 1 free. You sometimes see buy 1 get 1 free. That's actually, you know, stack them high, sell them cheap. It brings more money in. Another profit maximizer There's so many. It could be that now that you bought a candle for me, you're sick of burning your fingers, and now you're going to buy the long candle lighter that you don't have as well. What can you do to your product and service that maximizes the profit? What add-on service could you have? And I've even been noticing Amazon doing this now. If you add this product on, you'll get a discount. It doesn't always have to be a discount. It could be a discount. It could be something of convenience. It could be many different things depending on what your model is. But how can you increase the average transaction value? How can you add more on and sell more of? You know, how can you increase the frequency? This is why we're seeing so much subscription model businesses. How can we increase the frequency of how often people are buying from you? You know, is it subscription? Are you actually onboarding them and making sure you're finding out when they might need another one of those products, or when they might need your services again? At what point is there some type of renewal? So frequency is as important as well. Transaction size, and also so is upselling. So profit maximizers really looking at upsells. The fast food industry does this so well. Do you want fries with that? Do you want to make your meal large for 30p or whatever pence extra? You know, cross-selling. There might be items, especially for those of you that have got big catalogs and you're in e-commerce, you know, frequently bought together. Again, Amazon does this so well. How many of you have gone to buy something and you'll see underneath frequently bought together and there'll be 3 items? So suggesting and prompting clients, this is sales. You know, premium subscriptions, people will pay for extra perks or early access, or like I said, they just want to know I paid for it and I know that I'm just going to get access to that all year, whether it's wine, whether it's, you know, a beauty product that you're going to run out of at some time. You need to think about how can you maximize the profit? How can you upsell? How can you increase the frequency? How can you increase the transaction size? You need to think about these things and think about them strategically. So step 7 is creating your landing pages. So you've got all your offers in order now. So now it's time to make a place for the customers to learn about them and go from one step of your funnel to the next, or as I like to say, not the funnel, the customer value journey. So the landing page is a web page where all the essential information about your offer lives. Okay, it's where you point your customers to using ads and links and the traffic that we spoke about. So whether it's organic, whether it's through ads, whether it's through search engine optimization, content marketing, you would push the traffic to a landing page, and each stage would lead to the other. So typically you'd make your customer aware through one of the traffic sources. Once they're aware, they would then subscribe to your lead magnet. Once they've got your lead magnet, maybe you'll put an email series together to get them to the entry point offer. Once you're at the entry point offer, there might be an email series to get them to the core offering. In between that, you're going to want them in your community, or you will continue that email marketing, especially if it's segmented, by keep talking to them and educating them. By educating them and talking to them about the problems that they have in the market sector that you're dealing with, means that you keep yourself relevant, alive, establish yourself as an authority, and you keep these leads warm. So the landing pages is what brings everything together in the mechanics. Okay, makes sense? So elements of an ideal landing page. So you want an attention grabbing headline. You can use the headline or the name of your offer as inspiration for your landing page headline, but you really want something that, pow, someone as they're scrolling is going to stop and look. You know, an image of your offer, an image or a video. Videos become very popular. People nowadays like videos, and videos is a very powerful way in terms of ad spend. If you're advertising, because if someone's watched a certain amount of your video, you could now say, find me more people like the people that have watched 75, 80, 90, 100% of my video, which makes retargeting a lot more specific. But it could be an image as well. I've run ads where images are done better than videos. There's no rule of thumb. So people are very visual in this day and age, and they love seeing the product before they buy it. So being an image, being a video, you know, you want to make sure that you've either got some great videos, great photography, or both, but you've got some visual content. Privacy policy and term services, they're required to be compliant with traffic stores. And not only that as well, how many of you might have gone to buy something, you think, oh, look at the URL. It's got question marks, it's got little equal signs. Who's that? Is this fraud? Because they can't see your name in the domain. You know, when people put mobile numbers down, they put internet email account numbers down rather than the name of the business. You don't have any refund policies or terms of services. It makes people mistrust you. And legally, you need to make sure that you are covered and you're doing things right. So privacy terms and services should be there. The landing page will also give you your opt-in forms. The landing page is longer and requires someone to scroll through to go through the whole thing. And it would include 2 opt-ins. And those opt-ins should be collecting the details. One above should be there, and there should be one at the end of the copy, because you want to be prompting your prospect at all times to put their details in so you can keep marketing to these people. And this is where, when it comes to selling and using content marketing, you always have to follow that 80-20 rule. 80% education, 20% sales. You don't want to make your sales overbearing, but your sales should be there. And you know, you can use technology to segment your market, that you know who the hot leads are, so you can have conversations, maybe book calls with them, depending on your business model, to really be able to convert. So you don't want to be bugging people like the greasy salesman or woman, but at the same time, you cannot be frightened of sales. If you've got hot leads, ask for the sale, ask for the money. You know, having compelling copy, it's crucial that you understand copywriting. Even if you don't do it yourself and you get somebody else in to do it, you should understand the format that your copy should follow, so you're able to proof it, because nobody knows their product or service better than you. And many a times when we're working with freelancers and suppliers, we don't take the time out that's needed to really build relationships and get them to understand our business. How can you have an agency or write for someone when you don't really understand what they do? The same way I'm saying to you, you know your audience better than they know themselves. Obviously, you're not quite going to be able to do that, but you need to get as close as that to possible. If you're going to get a copywriter, you need them to understand your business, what you do, what your offering is, your audience, as how can they write compelling copy. Or you need to educate yourself with a copywriting course, because the content marketing and the copywriting, that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to connect you to your customer. So you really want to explain the benefit and the features and the value that they will get from your product or service. Use your copy to show how your offer will get them one step closer to their desired afterstay of where they want to be with the problem that they've got. So more complex offers usually need more copy, because you want to make sure that you cover all bases. If you're providing a solution to someone, long copy, people want to read long copy because they've got a really big problem that is close to their heart, and it's something that's holding them back, whatever it is. So they want to take the time out to actually read what you've written. So this is where long copy really does work. Okay, so within that funnel pages, you've got upsell pages. So once your customer makes a purchase, it's a great idea to immediately offer them an upsell. So on the back end of your landing pages, for people who purchase, show them an upsell page with maybe thank you for purchasing, and opting in to buy something else. Or it might not even be opting to buy something else. People use social media primarily for entertainment, so make sure your posts are engaging, because it could be that you want to drive traffic and drive them to a community. So even though they're bought from you, you can continue to still speak to them and sell them other things. Make sense? You might offer them an upgrade to their purchase. Maybe someone's buying an ebook for you, and you might do what's called an order bump and say, hey, do you want the physical copy just for 99p more? Instantly you tick the box and boom, you've just instantly just upsold, made some more money. Now, encourage them to upgrade, but don't be pushy. Understand what would make their lives easier and better at this point, and what could you upsell them. You have to serve your customer and be genuine, else otherwise you will be that greasy salesman, and you should be frightened of the word sales. Basic access instructions. You know, confirm with them that the offer has gone through, your transaction's gone through, let them know where they can expect it. You might give them an order number if applicable. Maybe you'll give them a discount off their next purchase to entice them to upsell. Maybe you'll tell them that their package will be there for them in 3 days. In 3 days' time, if it's a physical product, you might say, would you like to give us a review? How did you enjoy using the program? Give basic access and instructions. This is the stage of the customer value journey, actually, that you really want to excite them and think, oh, my package is here, or oh, I've signed up, I've got a webinar, I'm so glad that I've done this. You need to make sure that that's there. And bridge the gap, you know, explain what they just got, you know, what it's a part of. You know, it could be that you've just sold a product that gives a juicing book that tells them how to juice. And now you might explain to them, now that you've reached this stage, we can now send you a diet plan or a cookbook to make sure that you're not just juicing in the morning, but you can make sure you're eating healthy throughout the day so you can reach your goal of weight loss in half the time. You know, bridge the gap, you know, tell them, you know, what offer will be next, what it will help enhance, what it will help them get to in terms of where they want to be in terms of success or solution in terms of the problem that you are solving. So, you know, within your funnel pages, you want to think about upsell pages. And then finally, in your funnel, you want to think about the return path. So you want to give customers a reason and means to return again and again and again and tell others about you. So the return path is a bit like, you know, should we get married? You got married and it's like the date night. So everything about the funnel is all about relationship building. And that's why I call it the customer value journey. The lead magnet is literally like asking someone for your telephone number. The entry point offer is literally like saying, let's go on a date and let's go out for dinner. The core offering is let's get hitched, let's get married or moved in. And that this return path actually is date night. So a return path is a way to increase the number of transactions for each customer. It's a way to encourage customers to come back to your brand, to come back to your offering. So it's anything that brings a customer or prospect back to buying more frequently. So it could be that you do this through email marketing, exit offers, okay, organic social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, loyalty programs. Supermarkets do this really, really well. Content marketing, maybe they're going to be a part of a tribe or your community, so you can use content marketing on social media platforms or in groups to, you know, get them to keep buying from you and keep ascending. Outbound sales calls, still not gone out of fashion. Getting, you know, depending on what you do, maybe you've got a business to business business, getting on that phone and actually just speaking to people, something we just don't do anymore. And some people welcome it, even if you schedule a time so you're not catching people when they're busy. You know, ad retargeting. If you paid for traffic, you can retarget the people that maybe went to your landing page but didn't quite sign up, or bought from you at entry point offer but didn't take things very further. You can actually retarget the people depending on where they got to in the paid advertising that was set up in your funnel. This is the digital world. Intelligence is very advanced. No longer gone are the days where you're just advertising visually with billboards or on television saying it's a family show. This is when most people watch television because there was only 4 channels. We can now track where people are hanging out, what they do, what they like, what they dislike, and those that were working for us, we can retarget. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you found that useful. For those of you that are tuned in live in Facebook, please go over to the Women in Digital Business Facebook group, where the link is there to actually join this webinar. Any questions you have got, just simply leave it on the page and we will come back to you, or enter into the group. The links in the groups, if you wanted to come on and put it in the chat, you can. Or like I said, make sure you leave it on the actual Facebook page, or you make sure you join that group. So what I will do is, for those of you, oh, Yasmin, I'm glad you found that helpful. Brilliant. I've just got a few messages here that I want to read out. So Meta, this is so true. I saw your message come in, and sorry, I didn't click back. I do notebooks and launched one yesterday. I thought I'd talked about it enough, but nope. Not a peep, not one sale. It was a bit demoralizing. Yeah, but I'll bounce back. but our bounce back, just need to learn how to sell. Yeah. Meta, I can honestly say, oh my gosh, I still sometimes is just like, nah, you didn't ask for the sale. You're giving all this content away. You're doing all these things and you didn't ask for the sale. And we do need to learn to ask for the sale more, because we don't. And we also don't nurture leads that are interesting. So another thing, Meta, is that sometimes it might be that you offer a call or a session where you're just speaking to that person one-on-one, so you can just get that opportunity to close. There's a book called Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. It's a really, really good book in really getting you to understand how leads will find you if they've got a problem, and what you can do to attract more leads that are hot and are coming to you because you've got something that they need. It's a really good book that I read while I was on holiday, and it's on audio as well. Jay Abraham isn't on audio, so that's old school reading, but it's called Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. And it's a really great book. But don't let things dishearten you. If you're here, you started, you're in business, you've got to just keep pushing through. But what I do want to do to you guys actually on the call is just let me give you some links. So this video, everyone, will be put up on YouTube. Okay, it will be put up on YouTube. But we have got some things coming up, by the way. I'm so glad we've been let back out again. That makes me so happy that we've been let back out again. I'm going to post this on Facebook after, but we've got a live digital bootcamp. Live one. There's £100 off for the next 3 days. If you're based anywhere, or is it 2 days? If you are based anywhere near London, I do urge you to come. We literally spend a whole day looking at the whole customer value journey, and you working on your business rather than in your business. If that makes any sense, where you're really going to do a deep dive into your market sector, your core offering, understanding who your audience is, creating the customer value journey there and then, looking at the profit maximizer and all the elements, but a lot more strategically, and actually doing it with me for the whole day. So anybody based in London, I've just put it in the chat. I will post this on Facebook once this ends. Come along and please check it out.